How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz. In today's video, we're going to be going over the most important event of this month, Kyurem Fusion Raid Day. So let's jump straight into it. This event is going to be taking place on January 10th from 2 to 5 p.m. local time. Now we're going to have four different raid bosses available during this event, and they're going to be on a rotating schedule. So for the first half hour, we're going to have Black Kyurem and Reshiram, and then for the second half hour, we're going to have White Kyurem and Zekrom. This will repeat for the next 2 hours. Now I'm going to be honest here, I do not love this that much, especially given that Black Kyurem and White Kyurem Fusion Energy are the biggest reason to actually do this raid day. And we just had Reshiram and Zekrom available in raids for the month of December, so including these two in the rotation just kind of dilutes the raid pool, which makes it even harder to find the Pokemon that you actually want to hunt down. So when it comes down to it, yeah, the setup for this event really wasn't planned out too well. Now, aside from the weird rotating schedule, we are going to have a good amount of bonuses for this event like a typical raid day. So first of all, we're going to have a boosted shiny rate on Kyurem, Reshiram, and Zekrom at 1 out of 10. This is actually a really nice shiny rate, so make sure to do as many of these raids as you can. All 3 of these Pokemon are going to be worth picking up. You're also going to get 5 additional free orange raid passes to use during this event, so if you want to get the max amount of free raids, save your orange raid pass from the day before. This way you can do a total of 7 free raids during the event. For newer players watching this, you can get more orange raid passes by spinning gym stops after you've already used one. Now additionally, on top of that, we're going to have the remote raid pass limit increased from 10 to 20 during this event, so that's going to be on both Friday as well as Saturday. And then for these special movesets, Reshiram is going to get Fusion Flare guaranteed, Zekrom is going to get Fusion Bolt guaranteed, and Kyurem is going to get Glaciate, but it's not going to be guaranteed. You do have an increased chance of this happening, but that is kind of a downside right there. Now what is nice though, unlike Dialga and Palkia Origin forms, you can Elite TM to get Glaciate, and this is extremely important for your Kyurem. We're going to talk about this later on, but before you fuse them together, Kyurem needs to know Glaciate, otherwise you will not get the exclusive movesets on White Kyurem or Black Kyurem. Now on that note as well, you can only get Fusion Energy from Black and White Kyurem raids respectively, so keep that in mind. And we are going to have an event ticket available for $5. This will get you 8 additional orange raid passes to use during the event window. Once again, you have to use these before 5 p.m. or they will expire. You're going to get an increased chance to get Rare Candy XL, 1.5 times raid experience, and 2 times raid Stardust. I mean, definitely consider gifting one of these tickets to your friends if they're going to be playing with you for at least the majority of the event. Considering the usefulness of both of these Pokemon, this is one ticket I would strongly encourage you guys to pick up, and again, gift to your friends if you are feeling generous. Next up, we need to talk about how the Kyurem fusions work. So when fusing Kyurem together with either Reshiram or Zekrom, the IVs are going to be determined based on Kyurem, similar to the main series games and kind of how it worked with Necrozma. So this is actually great news for anybody who didn't get good IV spreads on their Reshiram or Zekrom, and even if you did, you can just use those as standalone fire or electric type attackers respectively, and you can fuse together one of your bad IV ones. Now when it comes down to the fusion cost, you're going to need 1000 Blaze Fusion Energy to fuse Kyurem together with Reshiram to get White Kyurem, and 1000 Volt Fusion Energy to fuse Kyurem together with Zekrom to get Black Kyurem. You're also going to need 30 Kyurem candy and either 30 Reshiram or 30 Zekrom candy per fusion. Now, this is extremely important, so pay attention. Your Kyurem needs to know Glaciate before fusing it together, otherwise it will not get access to its signature moveset Ice Burn on White Kyurem or Freeze Shock on Black Kyurem. If you accidentally fuse it together before making sure it had Glaciate, you have to unfuse it, Elite TM it to give Glaciate, and then refuse it, which is going to cost you another 1000 energy. Guys, this energy is not easy to acquire. It takes 10 raids to get. This is a massive mistake that a lot of players are probably going to make and have definitely made in the past, so hopefully by watching this video you can avoid it. I'm actually guilty of making this mistake myself. I honestly thought that I had Glaciate on my shiny Kyurem. It did not. I fused it together to get White Kyurem, and unfortunately I did learn the hard way, so I had to unfuse it, and this event I am going to make things right. I'm finally going to get my White Kyurem, and it's going to be maxed out at level 50. It is a 98% IV shiny, 14, 15, 15. I am so looking forward to this. I've been waiting for these to come back into rotation, and yeah, just make sure that when you fuse your Kyurem, it has Glaciate. Like, literally triple check that. It is so important. Now following that, let's talk about White and Black Kyurem's adventure effects. So it's going to be 5 Kyurem candy and 5000 Stardust in 10-minute increments. In terms of White Kyurem, that is going to get access to Ice Burn. This will increase your catch rate by 1.5 times, and it's going to make the target ring on Pokemon encounters move more slowly. Now when it comes down to Black Kyurem, it's going to have the adventure effect Freeze Shock, and it's going to increase your catch rate by 1.25 times and act as a permanent Nana Berry, which means the Pokemon will not attack you or move around. And from personal experience here, this is the more useful adventure effect, especially if you're trying to catch Shadow Legendary Pokemon, which do attack quite frequently. I also use this adventure effect when I'm trying to grind out excellent throws during certain events with increased catch experience bonuses. So yeah, when it comes down to it, for sure prioritize getting at least one Black Kyurem. For the rest of your raids, after you acquire enough energy to get one Black Kyurem, focus entirely on White Kyurem for meta relevance. Now for those of you who are newer to the game or just coming back, you can only have one adventure effect active at a single time. So for example, if you had Freeze Shock active, you cannot use Ice Burn at the same time. Next up, let's go over the meta relevance for White Kyurem, Black Kyurem, Reshiram, and Zekrom. So once Kyurem is fused together with Reshiram, it will become White Kyurem and automatically turn Glaciate into Ice Burn. The optimal moveset you will want to have for raid battles is going to be Ice Fang plus Ice Burn. This is the best of the best in the game. It's the #1 best ice type attacker. Shadow Mamoswine was the previous top best ice type attacker in the game before this, but White Kyurem is much higher on the ER scale. And for those unfamiliar, just a few points on this power scale can actually be quite significant. So White Kyurem is literally like one of the most important Pokemon you can pick up in this game, which is why the rotating schedule is kind of frustrating, because for anybody who wanted to farm White Kyurem, your only option is really to just do these through remote raids to farm more energy, because doing the in-person raids is going to be really difficult. Now when it comes down to PvP for White Kyurem, this does rank at number 6 right now in the Open Master League, so that's super good. The optimal moveset here is going to be Ice Fang plus Ice Burn and Fusion Flare. Now I do strongly recommend unlocking that secondary charge move on your best IV spread for Fusion Flare. It's actually pretty good to use in raid battles too with party power, so again, like if you have a really good IV spread, if you're going to take it to level 50, make sure to unlock that secondary charge move. It'll definitely be worth it. Not to mention, when it comes down to White Kyurem as a maxed out hundo, it is going to be 5206 CP, which is one of the highest CP Pokemon in the game that is a non-mega. Next up, let's go over the meta relevance for Black Kyurem. So once fused together with Zekrom, it is going to become Black Kyurem and automatically turn Glaciate into Freeze Shock. Now unlike White Kyurem, Black Kyurem will not have an ice type fast move, but it can still be used as an ice type raid attacker, especially if the Pokemon is also weak to dragon type moves. When it comes down to the fast move, you can interchangeably use either Dragon Tail or Shadow Claw. Both are actually pretty good fast moves, and then combined together with party power, you know, Freeze Shock actually hits pretty hard. Even though it isn't going to have a ice type fast move, it's still one of the best ice type attackers in the game. But of course, White Kyurem is going to be much better because it takes advantage of the stab fast move. That being said though, when it comes down to building multiple Black Kyurem, I do not recommend this. You should really just focus on building one of your best IV spreads as Black Kyurem. That way you can also use it in the Open Master League as well, and focus the rest of your raids on White Kyurem and getting as much energy as you can for that, because when it comes down to ice type attackers for the raid/gym meta, White Kyurem is going to be the go-to. Black Kyurem you can use as an ice type raid attacker and a dragon type raid attacker, but you know, really at the end of the day, you just want to have one of them. So, you know, fuse together your best one and then focus everything else on White Kyurem. Now, when it comes down to PvP, Black Kyurem does rank at number 11 right now in the Open Master League, which does make it slightly worse than White Kyurem, but still very good in that meta. The best moveset here is going to be Dragon Tail plus Freeze Shock and Fusion Bolt, and just like White Kyurem here, Fusion Bolt is going to be a moveset that you do want to have on your Black Kyurem for sure. You can also use this in raid battles. And again, you know, depending on your coverage here, you might want to use Shadow Claw as a fast move, just depends on what the meta is looking like. So when it comes down to it, I would only focus on getting one Black Kyurem during this event, your best IV spread, ideally the hundo, maybe a 98, and then focus everything else on White Kyurem. That should be your game plan during this event. I know it seems kind of crazy to pick up like 5 White Kyurem, maybe like 3 to 4 if you can. If not, like 2 to 3 should be the goal. I definitely think this is a Pokemon though that you guys cannot skip out on. It's gonna come back in game like maybe once a year at most, maybe even once every other year. So take advantage of this opportunity and get as much White Kyurem Fusion energy as you possibly can. Okay, next up, let's talk about how good Reshiram is and how good Zekrom is. So first of all, Reshiram is going to be available with the legacy moveset Fusion Flare. Now we did just have Blacephalon featured with the legacy moveset Mind Blown, which is actually better than Reshiram now with Fusion Flare, although that is a bit more of a glass cannon, and I would still say that Reshiram is still very much worth focusing on, especially if you are able to get the hundo. It does rank at number 8 in the Open Master League, so definitely still a great Pokemon worth picking up and powering up to at least level 40. Now when it comes down to Zekrom with the legacy moveset Fusion Lightning Bolt, it does rank as the second best non-Shadow Electric type attacker in the game, and it's also ranked at number 10 right now in the Open Master League, so both Reshiram and Zekrom are going to be definitely worth building for your raid teams going forward, and then also for the Open Master League, and even better if you can actually get their lucky variants. Now when it comes down to the 100% IVs for these respective raid bosses, from the black and white Kyurem Fusion Raids, you're going to get Kyurem to catch, and if you get the hundo in the non-weather boosted, that is going to be 2042. The weather boosted hundo is going to be 2553. For Reshiram and Zekrom, they're both going to be 2307 as non-weather boosted and 2884 as weather boosted. Next up, let's go over some tips and tricks to help you guys make the most out of this event. So first of all, let's go over some catching tips. For those of you that already have access to Ice Burn and Free Shock, you should definitely consider having these active during this event, especially if the catch rates are not good on these Pokemon. We did have an increased catch rate for Kyurem back in December, but I don't know if that's going to hold true for this event. And if it's not, I would say that having Ice Burn active could make your life a lot easier. Combined together with a Golden Raspberry for a 2.5 times catch rate, or even a Silver Pineapple Berry for a 1.8 times catch rate, with a 2.33 times catch rate on candy bonuses, that could be really good. Next up, I want to go over some candy tips that I recommend taking advantage of. Once again, Kyurem candy is very essential in Pokemon Go. I mean, the Black Kyurem, like I mentioned earlier, is one of my most used adventure effects, so that should kind of speak for itself. So the nice thing about this event is that if you have a Mega Evolution that's a Dragon type, it's going to work for every single one of these raid bosses, whether that's Reshiram, Zekrom, or even Kyurem. So just use your highest level Mega Dragon in order to get more candy and extra large candy from catching these Pokemon. I just mentioned this as well, Silver Pineapple Berries will get you 2.33 times candy on every single catch, so that's going to be a great time to use these if you have been saving them up. And then if you want to take advantage of the 100-kilometer distance trades, you're going to get 3 candy and 1 extra large candy guaranteed, and you're most likely going to end up with multiple bad IV Kyurem anyways, so just don't transfer them. Make sure to mirror trade them, and if you don't get good IVs after the trade, you can save them for a 2 times transfer event in the future, and we are going to have one of those on the 20th this month, so definitely make sure to take advantage of that and do as many trades as you can until then. Now additionally, on top of that, if you have not evolved a Swing Quillfish or a Galarian Mask, these both required winning 10 raids with those Pokemon as your buddy, so make sure to equip them as your buddy during this event to knock out those evolution attacks and complete the Pokedex entries. Now for those of you out there who don't have that many trainers to raid with in your local area, I would recommend checking out Pokegenie to get the numbers you need to actually beat these raid bosses, or just joining them remotely. Again, the way that this is set up really wasn't all that great, so if you want to take advantage and get more White Kyurem raids done, remote raiding kind of seems like the better alternative for this event. Otherwise, guys, that's pretty much everything I have for you in this one. I will be doing another video most likely before this event starts, just go over some last minute questions that you guys may have. Again, this can all be kind of confusing, and given the way this event is set up, I'm sure you guys probably do have questions, especially when it comes down to those fusion forms. But in the meantime, if you want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.